Hi everybody, this is just a quick tabletop review of the new Marneus Calgar and his new Elite Guard that come along with them. The models themselves are highly detailed and require quite a bit of assembly. It's something you might want to paint even before you assemble them, especially depending on certain parts. Myself, usually I'd like to put things together then paint them, but in this case, especially like these shields right here, with the way the chest is and how much detail is in these guys, I'm probably going to leave certain parts off, paint them separate, that way they look nice. I'm not saying I'm going to try to make them perfect, but I definitely want to make them tabletop nice looking versus just putting on blue, gold, and some bolt gun and some red and other stuff like that to make them like, tournament ready. I'm not saying I'm going to make them perfect, but we are going to get them ready. Marneus Calgar, of course, is one of the oldest named played characters in 40K currently, and he's had a couple different models. He's had one where he sits in a chair. He's had the original first big one that I started playing with, which is a real similar stance, actually, of this guy. I don't currently have him. He's at a friend's house along with the Terminator version of him. And that's one of the things we want to kind of talk about. Is he worth getting if you already have a Terminator version? Well, if you look at the rules and you look at the stats, he's the exact same points, and his power level is only one more. So depending if you play power level or if you play points, that's a big deal. All the other special rules are the exact same, including his weaponry, except for you don't get a relic blade. I'm not sure if that makes a huge difference. The big thing with the Terminator version, you can teleport with him. It's something you cannot do because he's Primaris, and this guy. So being that he's only Primaris, that means that he's just got to foot slog it or take one of their most expensive transports in the game, which is not too bad, but the repulsor, and so with the group. Of course, he gets to take a repulsor now. One of the biggest things you see over the Terminator version, when you look on the rules itself, is he is toughness 5. He does have 8 wounds, he does have 6 attacks, he still has a 2-up save and a 4-up invul save, and he still takes half damage. So the Terminator version is the exact same, except for he's got 1 less wound, 1 less attack, and 1 less movement. And if you're playing points, I would say if you don't know one, I would definitely get one and put him on the board if you use them. If you play power level, you're kind of going to toss up. Depending on what level you play at, that extra point can make the difference from one squad or another squad, or jump packs on jump pack Marines, something along those lines. It could play it could be a very defining choice at that moment if it's worth that extra power level. If you play points, 200 points, that's really up to you. I would always take them at that moment, but I would have to have them painted first because I have issues with playing with unpainted models unless it's like a whole brand new army I haven't assembled and I'm just trying to put it out there and test out and change weapons and stuff like that. I will do other videos, which will be just quick little videos like this. They'll be short, just tips of different ways to how I paint my Ultramarine army versus maybe some other people. I'm not saying I spend a ton of time with it, but I do spend a decent amount of time. But my goal is to make it so they look nice and they play well. An example is this is something that I've been able to do over a matter of a few days versus spending months and stuff like that. It's pretty much 80% complete. Very little left to do. Mostly to the weapon systems. It does look pretty good. I'm not saying it's Games Workshop good. Still, like I said, still gotta do some weapons. Mars will kind of be in that same kind of category. Still gotta do the treads. They're black still. They're not gray. It takes a few different things, and I'll show different things. Still mixed on this. That might change out. We might see that different in the actual game when you do see Marneus on the board. But you're definitely going to see him with the whole Primaris force. That's kind of the way I've been going. I think that's the way Games Workshop is slowly going. I know they said they would not get rid of standard Marines, but you're probably going to see a quick phase out or a point where it doesn't make sense to buy them. Current chapter approved. They went down. You throw a Power Fist and attack squad and a grenade launcher, they're pretty close to being just a regular tactical squad with just not a heavy weapon or special weapon. But like I said, the biggest thing is when you include that with him, you do get to reroll over your hits. So you take that with the regular Primaris squads, and they're actually pretty effective against doing damage to anybody. I can't say I am overly excited with Marneus Calgar. He is really cool. I do wish maybe they would have picked somebody like Dante for this. I mean, essentially he is second in charge, but yet he wasn't the first one to get the gene. So maybe they'll just say he's too old for it, and then they'll put it into a different guy, and then that will become the new model for the Blood Angels. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you'll see Azrael. That would make a lot of sense. Plato for the Crimson Fist would be another one. You'll probably see a Primaris gene. It would make sense. They've taken a huge hit, huge battle, you know, in the campaign going on right now. You're probably going to see a lot more stuff leaning toward Primaris stuff. This obviously is probably the first stepping stone. They probably wanted to see exactly how well this would be received. Marneus has always been a good choice for HQ. He's not the cheapest at 200 points. He is still cheaper than, let's say, Rabute Galeman at half the price. I think if we were able to take 2 Marneus Calgar, they would probably mop the floor of him, because one thing, they only take half damage running down. So that's 2 wounds versus the 3. Not that great. Mortal wounds, that does help. They only have the 4-up invul save, which isn't the best, but it's actually pretty good when you look at most other armies. With his 6 attacks, he's going to do fine against almost anything in hand-to-hand, minus, you know, putting him up against something that's going to just wipe him out in the first, if he fails a couple saves. You know, you probably went on and put him against anything that was quite large, especially Forge World large. I use Forge World as the example because I use quite a few Leviathan Dreadnoughts lately, and they tend to just batter down anything in their path if they get in a hand-to-hand. Even greater demons, just they take care of them pretty easily. I definitely wouldn't want to take him against either of the Chaos Primarchs. Even Rabute would struggle against them, especially if they have a high wound count. Second tier, they're still going to be really good. You're only doing die 3 wounds with his fist, which is okay. It's not great. I wish that's one thing they would have changed. I wish they would have just gave him a flat 3. Maybe even a flat 2, or maybe make his power fist, you know, his gauntlets of Ultra are, you know, +6 strength. That way, he's always hitting at that higher level. I mean, strength 8's nothing to shake a stick at. And the fact that he still hits on 2s versus anybody else with a power fist that gets the -1, it's still just a power fist. So if something is able to lower his strength, it's going to be a lower strength weapon. So if something, psychic power or stratagem says, okay, you know, his strength is now 3, now your strength 6 versus strength 8, that might go from winning something on anything but 1s to, you know, now 3s or maybe even 4s, depending on its toughness. But, you know, it's something that I know they're probably experimenting around with, and we'll probably see a change. It wouldn't surprise me to not see them lower the price of the Terminator version for points, so people would play with him. I think I've only used maybe him once in a Terminator, because most of my games are high enough points where I would just always pick Rabute to be the commander of the force. So anyways, just want to do a quick review and then get this guy out to you guys, and then we'll get another video where he's actually out there, and we'll see how well he does against, you know, any of the other armies. So you guys all have a good evening now.